So, Macbeth organized a feast and invited Banquo and his son Fleance to it, along with other things and attendants. He hired some killers to kill Banquo and his son, but his plan was partially successful. It was not fully successful. The killers killed Banquo, but Fleance managed to escape. So that means Macbeth's apprehensions remain. Macbeth's আশঙ্কা কিন্তু রয়ে গেল, because Banquo's descendants still can become the king. Now we are coming to an important 100-word question. Describe the banquet organized by Macbeth. Meanwhile, Macbeth and his wife played the role of perfect host with affable and graceful manners. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth were the host and the hostess, and they entertained their guests with affable and graceful manners. Affable means pleasant. Graceful means fine. That means they behaved with the invitees in a very pleasant manner. প্রত্যেকের সঙ্গেই মধুর ব্যবহার করছিলেন. That conciliated everyone present in the banquet. Conciliate, that means to satisfy, to please. Everyone was pleased. Macbeth was the king, but still he was behaving in a very pleasant manner with the nobility. Macbeth discoursed freely with the thanes and noblemen. To discourse, that means to have a talk. Macbeth was talking in a very free manner with the thanes and the generals, and regretted the absence of his dearest friend Banquo. And Macbeth regretted. To regret means to express grief. He expressed sorrow that his dear friend Banquo had still not come. Just think of the hypocrisy of Macbeth. Macbether ভণ্ডামিটা ভাববে. Macbeth knew very well that Banquo could not come because he himself had arranged the killers who would kill Banquo. And he was telling the invitees that he was very much shocked, very much sorrowful that his friend Banquo had not turned up. No sooner did he lament for his friend whom he was missing in the banquet, Macbeth saw the ghost of Banquo occupying the seat reserved for him. As soon as Macbeth lamented, to lament means to express sorrow. As soon as he expressed sorrow for his friend, what did Macbeth see? Macbeth saw that Banquo's ghost was occupying the seat reserved for him. Banquo had not come, but his ghost has come. The apparition of Banquo had come. Banquoর প্রেতাত্মা আসনের উপর বসে রয়েছে. At this horrible sight, horrible means something that is hideous, bivhatshu, because in the original play, Banquo's apparition was covered with blood. At this horrible sight, his cheeks became white fear. This is wrong English. Became white with fear. All color drained from Macbeth's face. Macbeth's মুখ সাদা হয়ে গেল. His face became white with fear on seeing the ghost of Banquo, and he stood quite unmannered. Unmannered means perplexed, confused. Macbeth stood confused, with his eyes fixed upon the ghost, and Macbeth was staring at Banquo's apparition. এক দৃষ্টি চেয়ে রয়েছে. His queen and all other nobles saw nothing. Only Macbeth saw the ghost of Banquo. Other invitees, Lady Macbeth, did not see him, but perceived him gazing upon an empty chair. To perceive means to see. Everyone saw that Macbeth was staring at a vacant seat. This was seen by everyone. All the invitees saw it, that Macbeth was behaving in a strange manner. He was staring at an empty seat. No one could understand because they could not see the ghost of Banquo. They took it to be a fit of distraction. Distraction means lack of attention. At first, the invitees thought that Macbeth had lost attention. কোনো কারণে মনোযোগ হারিয়েছেন. That's why he was looking at the empty seat. And Lady Macbeth even reproached him. Lady Macbeth, she had nerves of steel. She did not lose her courage. She reproached her husband. To reproach means to scold, and told him it was the same fancy which made him see the dagger in the air when he was about, this is another error, he was about to murder Duncan. When Macbeth told his wife that he was seeing the ghost of Banquo, Lady Macbeth scolded him and said that it was nothing but a figment of his imagination. Eta tar kalpona. She reminded Macbeth that he had seen a dagger, a bloody dagger, hanging in the air when he was going to kill Duncan. But Macbeth continued to visualize the ghost of Banquo. Visualize means to see. But no amount of reproach from Lady Macbeth prevented Macbeth from seeing the ghost of Banquo. He saw it again and again, and gave no heed to all the noblemen could say. To give no heed, that means pay no attention, monojog na dewa. Other noblemen, the thanes, the generals, were talking to Macbeth, but Macbeth paid no attention to them. He addressed the ghost with distracted words. Rather, Macbeth was speaking to the ghost of Banquo. Why have you come? I have not asked you to come, still why you have come? Keno tumi eshecho? So Macbeth was speaking with the ghost of Banquo. Lady Macbeth, fearing the dreadful secret would be disclosed. Dreadful secret. Dreadful means terrible. What was the terrible secret? The terrible secret was that Macbeth had planned the murder of Banquo. Macbeth was speaking in such a hysterical manner. Macbeth was speaking in such confusing way that Lady Macbeth feared that everyone would understand that it was Macbeth who had planned the murder of Banquo. It would be disclosed. To disclose means to reveal, prokashito hawa. In great haste dismissed the guests. Lady Macbeth was a woman who had great intelligence and determination. She now took control of the situation. She dismissed the guest. Here dismiss means to request to go away. She requested the guests to go away, excusing the infirmity of Macbeth. Here infirmity means illness, disease. Lady Macbeth told the guests that Macbeth had been afflicted by a disease, he was sick, he needed rest, and so she requested the guests to go away because she feared otherwise the dreadful secret that Macbeth had planned the murder of Banquo would be revealed. Macbeth and his wife had their sleeps affected with terrible dreams. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth could not sleep. Their sleep was disturbed by nightmare. Nightmare means terrible dreams. If you remember what Macbeth had heard after killing Duncan, he heard a voice say, Glamis has murdered sleep, so Cawdor shall sleep no more. Glamis and Cawdor the same thing, because Macbeth himself was the Thane of Glamis and the Thane of Cawdor. So Macbeth has murdered a sleeping person and he will never have a peaceful sleep in future. And that prediction had come true. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth could not sleep, and the blood of Duncan and the blood of Banquo troubled them not more than the escape of Fleance. They were not disturbed by the murder of Banquo, rather they were more disturbed that Fleance had escaped and his sons would become the future kings, whom they now looked upon as father to a line of kings. A line of kings means a dynasty of kings, Rajvangshu. Fleance had escaped, he would have a son, his son will become the king, his son will become the king after him. In this way, the descendants of Banquo would become the kings of Scotland, who would keep their posterity out of the throne. Their posterity means the next generation of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. With these thoughts, they found no peace. They means Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth lost their peace of mind, and Macbeth decided to visit the heath once more. Heath means a marshy land. If you remember, Macbeth had met the witches in a heath. He decided to revisit the heath, আবার সেখানে যাবে, in search of the three weird sisters. Now he would look for the witches to know his final outcome. Outcome means result. Macbeth wanted to know about his future. Who would tell him the future? The witches would tell him his future. So Macbeth decided that he would visit the marshland again. Our class comes to an end here. I will send you the notes, the questions. So follow this video. Thank you.